Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, a UF employee charged with keeping his son in a cage is working to get his bond reduced. We were in the courtroom when the judge made his decision.
Plus, Alachua County Public School bus changes having an immediate impact on families.
And it's not only an inconvenience for parents. Here at Westwood Middle School, there are serious concerns about safety issues as well.
We're live with how this new change will ease some burdens for school leaders.
Another freeze warning in effect. I'll let you know how cold it's going to get tonight coming up.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
The UF employee charged with locking his 2 children in a cage wants his bond reduced. This is First at 5. I'm Charlize Ramos.
And I'm Rafael de los Santos. Dustin Huff appeared in an Alachua County courtroom earlier today.
WUFT's Natasha Holt is live outside the courthouse. Natasha, the judge has not yet decided if Huff's bond will be lowered.
That's right. Today we went to see if Dustin Huff would be given a reduced bond. But ultimately, the judge said that he needs to review evidence from the bond reduction of Huff's wife, the co-defendant, before he can make a decision. The 35-year-old man has been charged with child neglect and 2 counts of aggravated child abuse. Investigators say he and his wife, Yuri Z, kept their 2 children, 2 and 6 years old, alone in a wooden cage when they weren't at school. His wife faced the same charges and was released with a $50,000 bond. Today, the judge said that he will review the necessary evidence and will reconsider at a later date. Today in court, we did learn that the 2 children have had supervised meetings with their parents since the arrest, but there are no plans for reunification at this time. Reporting live in Gainesville, Natasha Holt, WUFT News.
Parts of our viewing area are under a freeze warning for a second straight night as the chilly air plans to stick around. Today, temperatures barely climbed into the 50s, and tonight some areas will experience temperatures in the 20s. Let's get over to UF forecaster Derrah. Derrah, we're experiencing some unseasonably colder weather right now.
It is unseasonably cold. In fact, this is the coldest we've seen it all season so far, and we are expecting a stronger front on the way in just a couple of days. Don't let these inviting blue skies fool you. It is cold outside. Temperatures are only in the low 50s right now in Gainesville. To the north, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 40s right now, and along the coast as well. Further south, mid 50s, but everywhere not making it out of the 50s this evening. We do have high pressure overhead steering that flow. It is a little bit breezy outside with those northwesterly winds, and that's helping to add an extra chill in the air this evening. A few light clouds streaming in overhead, but otherwise we're looking at mostly sunny conditions right now. Now we will be increasing that cloud cover as we head into the overnight hours, and that's going to allow for those temperatures to park right in the mid 30s. So it's not going to be as cold as where we were last night, but it's still going to be in the 30s nonetheless, which has warranted another freeze warning. We'll talk about that cool down we have coming up next time I see you.
The Citrus Cold Weather Shelter will be open tonight and tomorrow night from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. Temperatures in Citrus County are expected to reach into the low 30s with a wind chill in the upper 20s. Hot meals, warm sleeping areas, and showers will be available to those in need. And if you do not have transportation, Citrus County Transit is providing free transportation to the shelter at no cost. The Citrus Cold Weather Shelter is located at 5113 South Suncoast Boulevard in Homosassa. For more information, call 352-234-3099. Grace Marketplace needs cold weather supplies, fleece warmers, scarves, and gloves to name a few. The marketplace has provided housing and meals for those who are homeless since 2014. Over 20,000 people have been served.
A new year comes with big changes for some students relying on Alachua County Public School buses. Beginning this week, Alachua County Public Schools eliminated courtesy bus routes. WUFT's Jessica Nitti has the details about some of the changes students and their families can expect to see.
Alachua County Public Schools District shared with us that yes, those courtesy routes will change, mainly because of personnel and the proximity a student lives to the school. There have been numerous complaints of late buses or buses just not showing up. One reason for these issues, bus driver shortages. Alachua County Public Schools Communications Director Jackie Johnson says it's a nationwide issue.
There is an ongoing shortage of bus drivers throughout the country, and certainly we're not immune to that problem. And as a result, we've had issues with buses being late because drivers have to double up, or buses not showing up at all because drivers are absent and we don't have enough substitute bus drivers to fill in for them.
To help solve these issues, Alachua County Public Schools made changes to its bus routes. One change, the elimination of bus pickups for students living within a 2-mile radius. School administrators believe cutting out the courtesy routes will reduce the strain on bus driver staffing. For Lincoln Abraham Middle School parent Haley Grodwald, this change causes hardship.
Now I have to rearrange my work schedule, so I have to come in at 6:30 so I can make sure that I can leave by 3:30 to pick my daughter up. And then also my brother-in-law he goes into work, takes a 30-minute break so he can pick her up to drop her off at school. So because we're not walking.
Crossing guard Toya McMeekin is already seeing more students walking. She's worried about the traffic.
It's really scary. It's really scary because these cars could be speeding even through school zones. They speed, they don't watch out for us, so I know they're not going to watch out for the kids. So it's really bad, and I hope that they can do something different.
Johnson says certain circumstances may require accommodations.
We've let them know that if your child's walk to school meets the state's definition of a hazardous walking condition, we will certainly take a look at providing transportation in those situations.
But as for the current situation now, courtesy routes are eliminated. School officials know these changes will be a burden for some, but are confident it will solve the larger problem. Reporting live from Gainesville, I'm Jessica Nitti.
The Middle District of Florida's Department of Justice says that they have convicted more than 1,500 people for child exploitation offenses. That includes convictions in our area. Project Safe Childhood was launched nearly 2 decades ago, and last year, the district charged over 100 defendants, the most of any year. The project is part of a national effort to combat what federal officials say is a growing epidemic in child exploitation and abuse. Federal, state, and local enforcement team up to not only capture and prosecute individuals, but to also rescue victims. Several of our local authorities have helped with the project, including Ocala Police and the Columbia County Sheriff's Office. In a recent press release, the Middle District of Florida said among the last year's notable convictions was 52-year-old Eddie Oglesby from Marion County. He was sentenced to 80 years in federal prison for producing and receiving child abuse material. Investigators say he impersonated a federal agent and used it to coerce underage girls into sending him pictures. Attorneys say their work is far from over.
We just learned the State Board of Education passed a rule today to permanently ban diversity, equity, and inclusion in the Florida college system. This rule prohibits schools to use state and federal funds to administer DEI programs. Florida's 28 state college campuses fall under this system. We reached out to Santa Fe Community College and were told that President Paul Brody is working on a statement.
The products you use to take care of yourself might be soon changing.
And so will the ways you make your own food. We'll see how you could brush your teeth with your shaver or even make your own ice cream or beer at home. But First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The Old Mount Carmel Baptist Church in Gainesville is a historic landmark celebrating its 80th birthday. WUFT's Sofia Abolfathi shows us how this church is a hub for an African American history and what it takes to preserve it.
Tucked away in the Pleasant Street neighborhood of Gainesville, Florida, is a landmark of brick and mortar. The Old Mount Carmel Baptist Church was constructed in 1944.
You can see where the hands that was done with our people, some of our descendants erected and mixed the mortar.
This year, celebrating its 80th birthday of African American faith, history, and community, Old Mount Carmel was a hub for Gainesville's long fight for civil rights.
Reverend W.G. Mayberry's congregation moved to this building in 1987.
I do not know of any facility in Alachua County that has done so much in what Martin Luther King stood for.
Under the leadership of Reverend Thomas A. Wright in the 1960s.
Oh, he was my mentor.
It was the local chapter of the NAACP, the meeting point for staging nonviolent protests.
So that happened here.
and a central organizer for integrating schools in Alachua County. And in 2010, Pastor Gerard Duncan moved his congregation to Old Mount Carmel.
They could not sit idle and watch what was going on, the injustices.
But this historic building isn't going to stand forever without some help. That's why resident pastor Gerard Duncan and a team from the University of Florida have a plan to save Old Mount Carmel's past for its future.
The vision for the future? A civil rights museum and cultural arts center. Not only a place of worship, but a place of education, community, and sharing
the stories.
Sofia Abolfathi, WUFT News.
Alachua County Public Schools Magnet Program is open. Applications are due by 4 p.m. on February 13th. These programs focus on academic or career technical courses to help students learn skills for their work fields. 50% of students will be chosen through a district-wide lottery, while the other 50% will be chosen by the school. The application is online and allows families to apply to multiple programs with one application. If you have any questions, ACPS asks you to call the school.
We're continuing our coverage of the Consumer Electronics Show with a look at some of the ways technology makes our lives better. WFT's Jacob Sedesse shows us the latest products to improve your health.
Oh, didn't see you there. I'm actually at the Body Friend booth trying out their new massage chair with all kinds of new technology. And, you know, if you were carrying around the backpack I've been carrying around, you'd want a massage too at this point. The massage chairs are fun, but there were so many more products around the show made to improve your well-being. Withings Company officials unveiled an all-in-one health device called BMO to get 4 of your vitals all in one. It'll cost $250 and be out by mid-year. Speaking of all-in-one, Panasonic showed off more heads for its multi-shaver, including a nose trimmer and a toothbrush. And of course, a big part of your health is what you eat. Cold Snap is showing off an ice cream machine that's just about as easy to use as a Keurig machine. You just close this up, and in 2 minutes, it'll make a bowl of ice cream just like this one. Similar machines by other companies help you brew beer and make cocktails. And if you already own Samsung appliances, a new app scans the groceries right in your fridge already.
All right, so now we've all on our food. What's the food list? What is this?
And shows you how to make a recipe with them.
Get this bad boy simmering.
And the app helps keep track of nutritional information too, to help you take your health off the back burner. In Las Vegas, Jacob Sedesse, WUFT News.
Our weekend-long coverage continues tomorrow when Jacob will be here to take a look at smart home tech.
If you think it's chilly here, look at those temperatures across the southeast. We're seeing 20s in Nashville on north. I'll let you know when we'll be seeing 20s closer to home on the other side of the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Temperatures today didn't make it out of the 50s, even some upper 40s to the north, and that's about 15 to 20 degrees below average. So we are unseasonably cool. Look at those nice partly cloudy skies over the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Those aren't going to last for much longer because we are anticipating more cloud cover as we head into the overnight. Now, as this area of high pressure moves away to the west, or to the east, excuse me, we'll see that cloud cover begin to build back in, and that'll also shift our flow to be out of the east. So that combination is going to prevent those temperatures from falling as low as they did last night. We will be seeing widespread 30s still, even some upper 20s far north, but generally we'll be right around the mid 30s, 34 degrees here in Gainesville. Now, with that being said, there is still a freeze warning for our northern counties tonight through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So if you're in any of these areas highlighted in purple, you will need to bring in those plants or cover them up another night again tonight. Tomorrow, we're starting out cloudy, and then we'll see those clouds continue through the majority of the day. A few light sprinkles during the late afternoon hours, and those showers will increase in coverage as we head into tomorrow evening, and those clouds will linger throughout the majority of the day. Areas of frost for our northern counties as you wake up tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy tomorrow, and then those showers start pushing west tomorrow afternoon and evening. Here comes that cold front. Behind it is another blast of Arctic icy air. And after that front passes, we'll be seeing temperatures even cooler than where they were yesterday morning. And that'll also shift our flow to be out of the north. So Saturday, highs aren't going to be making it out of the low 50s. And Sunday, we're not making it out of the upper 40s. So Sunday morning, you're waking up to temperatures in the 20s, widespread mid and upper 20s with 30s further south. Now, the rest of the week, we will see those temperatures slightly increase ahead of our next low pressure system. Temperatures rise back to the mid 70s by this time next week.
Coming up in sports, Florida men's basketball suffered yet another tough SEC loss last night against number 6 Tennessee. After the break, we'll recap this rocky matchup for the Gators in Rocky Top and where they go from here.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Daniel Haviv. Florida Gators men's basketball faced another big SEC test last night, and once again, they came up short. The Gators were beaten by the number 6 ranked Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville by a score of 85-66. Florida was outsized and outplayed by a strong Volunteers team that also shot the lights out. Tennessee's senior guard Dalton Knecht dropped a career-high 39 points on 57% shooting from the field and a perfect 9 for 9 from the free throw line. While Florida still holds a 11-6 record on the season, they will need to step up in conference play for any hope at a run in March. The Gators have the rest of the week off until they head back on the road to face the Missouri Tigers on Saturday. Florida is winless in their small sample of road games so far, but Missouri hasn't been any better. The Tigers are 0-4 in SEC play and are one game under 500. Saturday's matchup is a huge opportunity for the Gators team to get back in the win column and find some success outside the O-Dome. D1 softball preseason rankings were released, and the Gators find themselves ranked 20th in the nation. After being eliminated by Stanford in the regional round of the NCAA tournament just last season, the Gators are back with yet another talented squad. Skylar Wallace is back for her senior year. Wallace was last season's SEC Player of the Year. She comes into this season as the focal point of the Gators offense and with expectations to compete for another Player of the Year award. Here's a quick look at how the SEC fares in these preseason rankings. At no surprise, they lead all conferences with a staggering 8 teams in the top 25, with 2 being in the top 10. Some future SEC teams included in the rankings are the number 1 seeded Oklahoma Sooners and the 5th ranked Texas Longhorns. The Sooners had only 1 loss last season as they secured their 3rd straight national title. The high school basketball season has reached a point where every win matters for district playoff seeding in the coming weeks. Starting off with the boys, last night Oak Hall went on the road and beat St. Francis Catholic 51-37 to make it 2 straight. And Columbia barely edged out Buchholz 73-68. Tonight, PK Yonge clashes with Gainesville with tip-off set for 7:30 p.m. Now for 2 girls matchups tonight at 6 p.m., Santa Fe and Buchholz face off. The Bobcats are undefeated at home and are catching the Raiders on a 2-game skid. And at 7:30, Wildwood heads to Eastside with both teams sitting at an impressive 11-3 record. A tradition at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill was revisited today to honor the Gators golf team winning the national championship. Gators golf head coach J.C. Deacon had his portrait painted by former Gator James Bates. Bates paints the portrait of every Gator head coach that wins a national title, and the portrait is then hung in a designated hallway at Spurrier's for local fans to admire. And one last note, tonight, the Orlando Magic have a short travel over to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. Tip-off is set for 7:30 p.m.
Thanks, Daniel. Speaking of magic, is there any chance we can magically get some warmer weather?
Yeah, I usually like the cold weather, but this is too much. Can we get one last check of the weather?
Well, temperatures do slightly rebound, but then we'll see even colder air after our next cold front passes. We do have another freeze warning tonight with temperatures in the upper 20s and mid 30s. And then come Sunday morning, we'll be waking up to temperatures in the 20s. So we could see our next hard freeze. Then temperatures slowly rebound to the mid 70s next week.
Thanks, Derrah. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WFT.org. Have a good night.